Hi, I'm Sarah Poniatowski, and I'm going to take you on a little journey along with the rest of our mission team so that you can know all of the cool details of our most recent mission trip to the Midwest Mission Distribution Center from June 6th through the 9th. And you can see here on this slide, we've got a smiling group picture of all of us down at the site. All of us except Steve Poniatowski, who did join us later after this group photo was taken. But we really had a great time, great fellowship, and can't wait to dive in and share with you a little bit more about our time at MMDC down in Pawnee, Illinois. So as I mentioned, the MMDC is located in Pawnee, which is very near Chatham, very near Springfield, downstate. And the mission of Midwest is bringing the hearts and hands of God's people together to transform resources into humanitarian relief. And it is amazing the degree to which this mission is able to do that on a daily basis. So who they are? Well, MMDC opened back in 2000. So they celebrated their 20th anniversary in 2020, which, obviously COVID dampened that celebration a little bit because 2020 ended up being a year where obviously they were not able to host as many volunteers from, out of state, and different people, were not able to come and do as much work. So they relied more on just their staff members and a small local group of folks. But they're still living it up though and celebrating that 20 years to this day. So no worries there, because they've had a really impressive couple of decades of really showing God's love in practical ways. What they do is they distribute materials for education, health, micro business support, disaster relief when that's needed, all the things that are necessary to meet basic human needs around the world and locally. They refer to themselves as a hands-on mission, and if you go there, you'll see exactly what that means, because everybody is really digging in and doing the work. And that experience then translates into bringing hope to the people on the receiving end of all of that work. So it's a fantastic opportunity. A little bit about the distributions of MMDC. So they distribute kits like school kits, personal dignity kits, which we'll talk about in a moment because we spent a lot of time with those in this most recent visit. Other resources, supplies, after they receive a request from somewhere. And those requests can come from anywhere, internationally, nationally, and right around the corner. And no matter what, Midwest is going to strive to be able to fulfill that request. It doesn't matter who they are, if what the gender, race, religion. If you're not a Christian, that doesn't mean you can't get supplies from Midwest. There's no questions asked, and those supplies are given free of charge. So that's awesome. Midwest connects with local aid organizations to provide items that are received that don't meet those kit requirements. So there are things that get donated to Midwest that, because of shipping regulations and size requirements and requests, needs, things like that, are not things that they're able to use in the kits that they pack. But they don't just toss those things or let them go to waste or pocket them or whatever. They actually have a very extensive network of places to redirect those items, so nothing goes to waste. It's phenomenal. All right. Another thing to know about Midwest, if you're not familiar, they are one of 9 cooperating depots of UMCOR. So of the UMCOR supply network. So we had the opportunity on this most recent visit to take a look at the map, see where those other cooperating depots are located. And, there's some down south, there's some to the east, but we are one right here locally, which is really, really cool because it means we have a very nearby opportunity to go and serve one of a limited supply of UMCOR supply networks available in the U.S. So very cool. And then finally, Midwest Mission partners with other organizations like Christians in Mission, Food for the Poor, Cure Kansas City, U.S. Southern Command. So those are other places that when they're not working and packing things on behalf of UMCOR, they're also working with all of these other organizations as well. And I want to give kudos to Pam Hartness, who was on our team, who took this awesome shot up here of the warehouse. You can see all of that wood is going to be used to make school desks. And so it's just kind of cool to see all of that people take and work with and make into something that gets shipped off and used by so many students and happily welcomed into those schoolhouses. All right. So every time we go to Midwest, the facility tour is a highlight. They gear it toward people who have never been there before, but quite frankly, we go every time because there's always something new. And Chantel Corey, who is the executive director of Midwest, led us on another impressive tour of this facility on this most recent visit. And one of the reasons we like to go every time is because there's always these stories that really inspire and let us know that God's hand is in everything that we do at this site and everything that they do all year long. There's always these stories of things just sort of falling into their lap or working out the way that they are supposed to. And you just feel that God's presence is there with this mission. And the overall message that Chantel likes to say is God will provide. God will provide. God will make a way. So for example, on this tour, she told a story of they needed a new truck to be able to haul shipments back and forth and things. And, they didn't know how they were going to be able to afford it. Somebody came along who was retiring and had a tractor trailer that they were able to offer to Midwest to buy for a very low cost. And then in addition to it, he said his church had raised a bunch of money and put it in a fund to supply gas for, all of the hauling back and forth and everything. And so they were offering not just the tractor trailer, but this fund as well for gas, like whatever was left in the fund. And the guy didn't know how much was left in the fund, but it turned out that there was enough left in the fund that they were able to basically get the tractor trailer for like half price, which, is just one of those stories where it's like, everything came together. They were able to get what they needed. They got a break on it because what they're doing is the Lord's work. So it was just a really inspiring story. And Pam, you can see Pam and Barb had some great quotes here regarding their thoughts on it as well. Pam said that for her, it was very humbling and heartwarming to hear the stories of those helped by acts of kindness from strangers. And it's so true. Like Chantel will talk about her experiences going down and delivering items, delivering school vests, delivering school kits, things like that, and actually interacting with the people who are receiving it. And it really does warm the heart to hear those stories. And Barb, of course, mentioning those God moments that we know would not happen without the hand of God being at play. So very, very awesome to have the opportunity to go on the facility tour. Another thing that you might not think is so cool, but it is that we get to stay in dorms when we go to Midwest. So Barb here says that the dorm life is the highlight. You can see that she and Pam spent a lot of time working on this puzzle, and man, they did not give up on it, and it turned out beautiful. So well done, ladies. But having fun, having that fellowship, getting a chance to get to know people that maybe go to a different service from you, or that you just haven't had the opportunity to talk to very much before. It's just fantastic to have that fellowship while doing chores, making meals together, and even cleaning up. Steve noted that even cleaning up as a group is fun. And you can see here in these photos, the kids had a great time playing games and maybe didn't have such a great time doing dishes, but they did them anyway because everybody chips in. Because the organization is located so close to Springfield on this visit, Pam was gracious enough to take the kids into Springfield to kind of walk around and get a sense of some of the historic sites there. So that was really cool. And would be remiss if I didn't include a picture of the fantastic luxury accommodations here. Sleeping in a dorm bed. Really, it's worth it though. And you'd be surprised how well you sleep in a dorm bed after a hard day's work. It feels pretty darn good. So that's just a little bit about dorm life at MMDC, which I think is surprisingly one of people's favorite parts of the journey. Okay, so our work days this trip were pretty similar to one another. They had very specific needs for us to fill, so a lot of the work that we did was similar from day to day. That sometimes happens and sometimes doesn't, but either way, there are opportunities to kind of switch up what you're doing. So if you find something you love and you get to do it for a couple days in a row, fantastic. But if you find something and you don't love it as much, there's always something else you can do. So that is always the good news. So on this visit, there were a lot of desks that needed to be sanded. They needed to have coats of polyurethane put on them. they needed to be wrapped for shipping. So we did a lot of that. We also did a lot of sorting items for personal dignity kits and then also packing those kits. So you're going to see a lot of images of us on the team doing that. So we've got Pam and her daughter Allie here standing and polyurethaning those desks. This was the woodshop crew heading down to a break and took the opportunity to have kind of a fun photo op there. Barb spent a lot of time working with the personal dignity kits, whether sorting items for them in the warehouse or in the kit room actually packing them. So that was what God was calling her to do on this trip. So she was able to do that a lot in fellowship with some of the other ladies who were in there working from other church groups. And then here's just another shot of the team in the wood shop. Pam and Allie down here, what they are doing is getting hand towels and washcloths all sorted out and matched up to make it a lot easier than for the folks in the kit room to pack those. I also wanted to include a little image here of what a packed personal dignity kit looks like. So you all have been involved over the years in donating items that we've brought down to Midwest for these personal dignity kits and school kits and such. And so I thought it would be great for you to see what these actually look like. So in each kit, you've got your hand towel with a razor, and there's soap in there, there's deodorant, there's a shampoo, but there's also these prayer cards. And on the back is a prayer, and on the front there is a spot to put your name, so that the person who receives it has a hand-signed card knowing that while you were packing this kit, you were praying for them. And that, to me, is one of the most emotional parts of the whole process. Is really taking that moment as you're packing that prayer card in there to say that little prayer for the person who's going to be on the receiving end of that kit. And of course, at the end of each workday, we were responsible for cleaning everything up and getting it all ready to start again the next day. And so we've got Aiden here doing an excellent job keeping those floors spotless. On the second workday, we did similar projects. There was a lot more work in the warehouse, though, sorting items for the personal dignity kits. So you can see us here at work with those hand towels and washcloths, and then in the afternoon having the opportunity to pack more kits. Aiden and Pam spent most of the day in that wood shop doing more sanding, getting desks ready for their first coat of polyurethane, and then packing the desks that they had worked on before that were now ready to get wrapped up and ready for shipping. A couple of quotes here that people on the trip mentioned. Barb talked about how sometimes the work can be a little repetitive, right? You're packing these personal dignity kits and there's no shortage of need for these. So that is something that there's always an opportunity to do. They always need more. It never stops being something that you have to do. And so whenever she would feel like, oh, another personal dignity kit, she would just imagine the faces of those receiving the kit, and that would keep her going. And it is. It's just those little moments where you think of the joy and the hope that you're providing to someone else, and that is enough to bring that smile right back to your face and get you motivated to keep on going. And Aiden was motivated by getting to work with other people from different church groups. He mentioned his work with people from Michigan and Iowa as something that he really appreciated the opportunity to do. All right. On the third day of the trip, Steve joined our team. So you can see him there getting right to work in the wood shop. That's kind of his wheelhouse on all the trips he's been in. He's either been building desks or sanding and polyurethaning. That's kind of what he loves to do. So he's in there, and we've got Sebby and Allie continuing to pack those kits, and Pam and Aiden in the wood shop as well. So that was kind of our wrap-up day. We were there just for half the day that day, and basically at the end of the trip, I had asked the team to just give me some information about their thoughts, and particularly if somebody was thinking about going on the next trip. If somebody mentioned, I've always wondered about that, or I've always wanted to go, what would you say to them? And just having the opportunity to read over what everyone said was really inspiring and makes me not able to wait to go back again. So So this is what we would say. We would say go for it because it's a rewarding experience and it has something for everyone. That's from Aiden. Pam said, we had a blast, referring to her and Allie, having a really great time and being able to do this together. They have jobs for everyone. It's only 2.5 days of working with your team, and that's perfect. Working with the other volunteers, it's perfect, and it's only 3 hours away. So it's very close. It's a very rewarding opportunity that doesn't take up too much time to be able to do. All the work processes have been perfected, and that is true. They've got it down to a science. And anyone can participate at whatever level they're comfortable with. It's really rewarding, it's fun, and it would be great to get more people to experience it. And finally, I put this one at the end because I think it's really what it's all about. Sebi said, you get to help a lot of people who are struggling and in poverty, so it's a good way to do God's work. And I mean, amen. It is. That is the whole point of going down there, is to be the hands and feet of Jesus for these people who need it. And being able to do that with people from your family, people from your church, friends, new friends, and even strangers is really just the icing on the cake, because you don't leave there with strangers, you leave there with new friends. So it is a great opportunity. I hope you will continue to pray about it if you're interested in going on a trip, and consider joining us on the next one. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I would be happy to address them. Thank you so very much for your time, and have a great day.